Welcome back, Bobby. Today we're going to talk about the future,
Oh,
which
the
is
future.
bright. So it's so bright we need to wear shades. But if only we can figure out but it's so bright sometimes it's hard to tell which direction to go because the
Right.
sun's in your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, especially because of current events, okay, conventions are changing. Okay, they've been
Yes.
changing for a lot of time. What the purpose of a convention is, the old wisdom of the things that you, as a artist, a writer, what you did at conventions, your opportunities as a fan went of buying things. So much of that is quote unquote moving online, but that's too broad a brush to paint things with. But a lot more things are starting to stream that would have been done at a convention. True?
Yes, very true. I know over the weekend, a small press convention that I used to go to up in, I think around Columbus, Ohio, actually was held online. I did not get to attend any of the panels or anything, but yeah, it seems like this whole streaming, Zoom or StreamYard or however you're doing it, seems to be catching on more and more and more, not just for corporate meetings. I know schools jumped on it for kids and stuff to wrap up the end of last year. But yeah, in the past, like I said, we've been talking about your face being your connection with your fans, you getting the pitch directly to your fans, and we used to have to go old school for that. That was called sitting in a chair in Artist Alley.
And waiting
And
for people to walk up and try to grab their
yeah,
attention.
if you could grab their attention, yes. You had to set your table up just the right way. People walking by, they see something they like, they stop in, talk to you. You engage them. Some people did crazy things to engage people. So it's sort of like you can personalize your own artist alley now. You can, create a YouTube channel. You got Facebook Live. You've got Instagram, and these are areas that you can release your stuff. And then it still takes building a fan. It takes building an audience, but this will be one tool now that you can use to do that.
Well, I don't think the age of conventions is truly gone. I mean, yes, we're quite on a hold right now, but they will be back. And many of those skills you talked about of building a table to make it attractive and easy for people to approach, those things will still exist. Okay. But the same concepts of building a table, okay, is responds to building your website, your portal, so that people can find your work easily, okay, and attractively, and you're not making them jump through 16 hoops to find what they're looking for.
Well, another thing is cost, Bill. I mean, for 25 years or longer, probably longer, um, I've been doing artist alleys and conventions, and I've gone as far as full booths, four booths up in Chicago, and that's thousands and thousands of dollars. A simple table in artist alley is hundreds of dollars, plus your cost of arriving, plus your cost of staying in a hotel and food. There's a lot of investment into maybe reaching a handful of people.
Right, but why did people do that for all those years? Because that handful of people that you reach would reach out to other people and then other people, and it would grow exponentially. So became very, very important. But if you can reach more people online and have that same kind of growth,
True, true, and without the investment,
well, the
it's
investment and
it's
the loss
time.
of time of loss of creative time, your
Sure.
travel time, you're not really creating, during that con hours
No,
themselves, okay?
no.
And then there's
No.
the 5 or 6 days of recovering from con cred when you get home.
That's true. Well, the one thing you do lose is possibly of making an income, possibly of selling your book, doing sketch commissions, stuff like that. That's something that's gone. You're not going to do as much on your video streaming unless you're doing live streaming like Twitch, where you could actually be drawing an illustration. People could bid on it. Highest bidder takes the sketch. You could do sketch requests. So even that can be modified over into a Twitch account, and you can still make commission money live while you're doing them.
Well, this is
So,
what we're talking about of like taking some of the concepts of a convention and translating it. You
mm-hmm,
could put up on a website, I do commissions and here's what my commission prices are, okay?
sure,
There's no sense of immediacy to that. There's no sense of buy this now. There's some t-shirt companies that are doing brilliant jobs because this t-shirt design is available today. Buy it
right,
today or never again. And people
Yes.
who were like, they're not buying T-shirts someplace else. They could have bought a different T-shirt, but like, oh, I got it because I could only get it today. There's that sense of creating an event.
Right. Right. I agree with you.
And do you think that kind of thing can be translated to your online activities
Sure.
as an artist?
Maybe.
Well, like you say, if you're
I
doing
mean,
this,
using
if
his
you're doing a
Twitch.
sketch, if you're
Hmm.
doing a
Hmm.
sketch, okay,
Hmm.
having bid on this sketch that you're doing today, okay,
Right.
and or create to create limited events, okay, that I'm going to be doing this for this time. Tune in and participate.
Yep.
You have
Yeah.
to create
Yeah.
a reason. You
Uh,
can't basically be open 24/7 because then there's no reason to stop by.
right. Right. No, you got to create time slots, and of course, let everybody know through however social media, email, when you're going to be available. But yeah, I mean, that's sort of like the Twitch channel where you schedule up and you actually do drawings. I know there's a few of them out there that I'll stop and watch. And there's also Dave Dorman does a live video painting about every day around, I want to say noon, 1 o'clock. If I'm working in my office, I'll try to catch it and flip it on and watch him paint. He'll talk a little bit as he's painting. So that's always fun because he's always working on different projects. But there you pretty much know if Dave's available and he's painting around that time that you're going to be able to catch him. Um, but yeah, so that's where it takes. We were going to, can this replace Artist Alley? I definitely believe it can be an add-on to it because there's really nothing that can replace the personable. How you doing? Back in the day when we're used allowed to shake hands. Uh, I guess you can fist bump now once you wipe it off with
Okay.
a disinfectant rag. I don't know. This is crazy times we're in, Bill.
It is. But one of the things that that personal interaction with fans, can we think of ways to invite fans onto our streaming platform that they can ask questions, interact with you,
I
to make
believe
that
so. I believe some of the Zoom offers a multitude of people to come on and be a part of it. I know I'm involved in several calls where they do Q&A and they call on the person. You sort of get in line, they call you on, you can do a Q&A and do answers. So you could take that format and sort of push it into a live stream. So yeah, there's ways to get interaction with
because,
an audience.
because it can be very intimidating to just talk at a camera with no reaction from it. Okay. Uh, it's what David Dorman has gotten into a groove where like I'm painting, let me talk about the painting, okay,
Right.
but that can be difficult for some people, like especially when you're just kind of doing promotional things about your own. But inviting two or three fans, people who have made contact with you, like talk to me, ask questions. You get a discussion going, and what you have to say, becomes much more natural, and other people can listen to the discussion versus listening to a lecture. And that's that fine line that you want. No one wants to be lectured to.
Right, right. No, I agree. I agree. Yep. And that's hard. It's hard just talking to a video camera. I've been in the process of recording the Kickstarter, and at the end of it, I want to do a pitch. And so far, I probably have maybe 30, 35 recordings, and it's only a minute long.
A minute.
And yeah, it's not good. So,
Okay.
and the thing with video isn't like audio. Audio, I've gotten really good at cleaning up. Because let's just say back in the day, my mouth was a little more not appropriate for all families. It's that way, and I have
Oh,
to go
okay.
through and edit it out. I got really good at it, but and it was all my fault. But
So you
yeah,
had to edit
it's
out.
sort of
So you had to edit out all those golly darns and gee
golly
whizzes.
gosh, yes, yes, gosh darn it,
Okay.
yes, dang. Oh,
Now
now I got to
this is
edit that out,
now you
don't
got to
I?
edit that out. This is supposed to be a family show here.
That's true. But yeah, and that's harder doing video because you definitely see the clicks and movements and jitters, and you're like, you can't do that in a video.
Right.
So,
You can take
but
out those things in audio no one can see. No one can notice that it still sounds fine. But with
mm-hmm,
video, yeah, you got take 27. It's the
mm-hmm,
reason Hollywood movies take so long to make. Okay.
yeah.
Even though they're only
But
2 hours long.
But I do think the whole concept of live streaming is that you get all the blemishes, all the gosh darns, and everything that comes along with it. Because there's definitely plenty of those out there, even from people you go, "Oh, really?" But that's all right. That's them, and you get to you probably build a more true fan base. Um, Somebody who's wonderful in front of camera, and I keep coming back, is Brian Polito. He is so over the top. He is a what were they called? The circus
The carnival barker.
carnival barker. You've got it, and he's perfect. If you've ever not listened to him, you need to jump on one of his Kickstarters for Lady Death, and just listen to his intros, his pitches. He's fun. He is a lot of fun. If you know Brian, he's a lot of fun to listen to.
I
And
do.
stuff like that.
One thing you've got to be careful of is trying not to imitate someone like that. Because
No,
you
you
can
cannot.
look at that and think, well, that's what I want. I want that level of energy and stuff. But on the other hand, that's just Brian.
Yes.
I've eaten dinner with Brian. That's just him. Okay.
Hmm.
He might not be quite as boisterous, but no, he's just that personable and that energetic, that he's always got that level of energy. And so
Yes.
he might dial it up one, maybe two for a
Maybe.
pitch like that. But if your style of speaking is much more calm and measured, don't try to be the carnival barker. Find your comfort level, okay,
Right.
and be yourself. Because trying to be someone else because like they're really exciting, you're going to come off so fake. It's just really
Oh
going
yeah.
to be you're going to wind up being miserable doing it. So yeah, it's the easiest advice in the world. Be yourself, okay. But the better advice is like don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to
Yeah.
copy something that's really not you.
No, I agree, and I think they are going to want to support you. So yeah, like I said, it needs to be you. It needs to be you off the top,
But
and but there is some things as presentation, and I guess you're taught that when you're take these presentation classes and your talking classes and stuff that you do
right,
through college, and you want to sound a little bit more energetic, not so laid back, and you want to sound like somebody who you want a support, um, more than anything. And I would look for these in Kickstarters is you can tell in their voice if they're really pumped about their project, if they're really looking
yes,
forward to getting this in your hands. And there's something about that self pitch that you and I could never do when we were in a comic shop. We could show them the books, and we can say, look, this is really good. It's been selling well. But from hearing from the creator, and the creator just says, look, we finally got this done. We're excited about it. This is where the story came from, and we want to share this with you. There's you can when it's in their voice and it just rolls out of them, and you go, oh hell yeah, I'll give you $20. Oh, I gotta edit that out. Heck yeah, I'll give you $20.
yeah, but it's true because you can be as passionate as you are about someone else's work, but hearing it from the heart, and that's what you have to tap into. Another thing we were talking about, using video streams, live streaming, different things. One of the great things about convention is seeing artists get together with other artists,
Hmm.
whether writer, pencil, or inker. Uh, what do you think of the possibility of using these video platforms to do cross promotion with other artists?
Oh, I've seen some of them out there talking to each other. Some of them could be drawing while they're chatting and talking. There's some studios out there who have Kickstarters who sort of had a couple of the editors and the writers talking while maybe an artist is sitting there inking or coloring. So is that what you're talking about?
Yes, I think
Yeah,
that would
actually
be
doing production.
well, even not actually doing production, but just two writers kind of interviewing each other. Tell me about your project. Tell me about your project. Like, oh, and just bouncing off of each other, where it just, it's more of a conversation and less of a lecture. Let me tell you how I came up with this idea.
Hmm.
I
No,
think
I like it.
you're bringing two fan bases together, so you're finding another writer, okay, or another artist who has their own fans. Now they're looking at you and your material, and that's just another way you're each benefiting from it, and it makes it a little bit easier to do the actual presentation you're doing, and you're doubling your immediate eyes on, because both fan bases are going to want to see what you're doing.
Right, right. No, I agree. I think it offers a lot of different opportunities that we didn't have a few years back. Not that long ago, we really didn't. If you streamed, it was expensive software to get involved and to do it. So,
Well, I remember
um,
the early days of trying to record panels at comic book conventions. First,
yes,
just audio, okay, and it sounds like it's an easy job, but it's not. There's production value that goes into it. And when they tried to add video cameras, and you really couldn't see, you couldn't hear, it was not a fun situation to try
right,
to watch. Now, with so much smaller and more portable cameras and audio equipment, you're getting much better recordings of things like that.
right.
But but with simple things like putting together Zoom meetings, you've
Hmm.
got great video and audio, and you can concentrate on the content of what people are saying and showing you. And
Well,
you can do a whole, it'll help, you can get a whole panel's worth of people together on a topic.
sure. Well, we've seen video of certain panels over the years from San Diego and Chicago and places like that, New York. Like Marvel panels and DC panels and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it really opens up for expansion. I think any size creator who feels comfortable in front of the camera should go for it. I think it's a great way to reach a possible audience. There's many places that don't cost you anything to publish these. As you get more comfortable, do a live feed right there. Don't do a pre-recorded thing, but do a live feed. So there's lots of possibilities out there with this now.
And there is more of that sense of an event when you're doing something live. You like tune in at this date and time, and I'll have, because people, as much, there's tons of content that you can research and find, okay,
Hmm.
but it doesn't have the same sense of excitement of tomorrow night at 8 I'm going to tune into this. It's something,
Right.
it's the event planning that we just don't have as much anymore, but people still enjoy that.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I agree.
S- So it's getting people to know your work, okay, getting to know other writers and artists or things that you do at conventions. Can you think of anything else that, had been
I think
convention specific that can now be moved to new platforms?
um Convention Pacific. Well, pretty much all of ours, Sally can. I guess the biggest thing is you can use videos to preview your books and show your books. Um, we can do chats and talks, and I think anything in a convention can be reproduced except the personal high and that connection that you can make. But it just, it depends on how you present yourself on camera. Just be yourself.
Okay.
Um,
Is there any way to duplicate the bad and overpriced food? Because
you
that is so
talking
much of
about
the
the $10
convention
ice
experience.
creams?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
and the
$15 hot dogs.
yeah, an $8 pretzel,
Oh
that's already stale.
yes,
Okay, yeah. Somehow,
yes.
if we could only come up with that, then we would truly have the convention experience.
Have you ever stood in line for a bathroom at San Diego?
Yes.
Yes. You go there before you need to. Let's just put it that way.
It's like I may need to use the bathroom in an hour. I better get in line.
Go in line. Yes.
Yeah.
We do not want. Yes. So yeah, some of the things are much better on streaming, but um, yeah, I think it just can give a lot of people who may not can. I talk about going to San Diego, New York, and Chicago, and I was very fortunate to own a company, and that was able to afford to take me to places like that. And I had experiences and met people over the years because of that company, a Blue Line, and you know, it was just something that was a great experience for me. And you tagged along on a few shows with us,
Oh yeah.
and most people do not have a company that can pick up a tab like that or carry us along. And
No, no. The
we
number of
worked.
fans, the
Uh-huh.
number of fans who have never been to a convention is staggering. That they all would like to do it, but as you say, time, money, it's distance. It's not easy.
The location. I mean, I've always said the Cincinnati area where we're from is great because we're centralized. We can go north to Columbus, We can go to New York. We can go south to AtlantaCon, to Florida, MegaCons. There's a lot of conventions
Chi
on this
Chi
side of the states.
Chicago is only a 6 hour drive. Yeah, there's a
Hmm.
lot of places that are,
Arrows
uh,
World. Hmm.
Pittsburgh that are within a easy day's drive. Okay.
Oh, yes.
And so, but many people don't have anything like that in quite a few hours. So
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of things that you can bring that convention experience to people who just would not be able to go in any way, shape, or form. So
Right.
I think that's a good thing to keep in mind of like, yeah, conventions will be back and we'll still be doing those. They still have their place and there's still certain things about them that are excellent that can never really be replaced. But a lot of those things can be duplicated in your outreach to fans and to the fans that you have and in creating new fans.
Oh, I agree.
And we just need to keep coming up with what we've talked about here and more new and creative ways to make that connection feel special and feel like an event.
Right. And I'm sure there will. There'll be, right now, StreamYard and Zoom, you can do slideshows, which is really, to me, it's a combination. You can do your chat, your talks, and everything, and then you can also show your images. You can show other videos while you're talking. You can show pre-recorded stuff. So there's a lot of abilities that we can use if you're imaginative. Um, you almost have to be as creative in your presentation, which is, I guess, is true on anything, as you are as creative on what you really want to do, which is create comics. So,
Well, I think that's something that we really need to get through to our listeners is creating comics in a vacuum. You can have, you can be the best painter in the world, okay? And you'll leave behind some wonderful paintings that will be discovered after your death. But if you want to make a living at this, if you want to share this with people, you have to be creative in marketing yourself as you are in doing your work, or else you wind up working in a vacuum where no one else will experience what you're doing. Okay.
right, right.
And that's something we have to keep finding new and creative ways to inspire people to realize that that's part of the creative experience. And it's not all drudge work, like you say. Some of it is exciting and fun and creative.
Yeah, it is. And, I wish all we had to do is make comics and that's it. All we had to do is make comics. They just magically appear out there. But there's so many things that you have to do to get them out there. And that, I was talking to somebody not too long ago, like, I want my comics in comic stores. I said, I do too. And they sort of stopped looking at me and says, you've had comics in comic stores. I said, yeah, but now I can't. I says, for me to put a comic in a comic store, I've got to create my own fan base first. I got to create a fan base to come and ask for it to be successful. You can't just generic say, I'm in a comic shop, I'm successful. You're successful when you have when you have a fan base that can support the project.
And that fan
And
base can support the project in a comic shop or online, okay?
yes, well,
Or door to
what
door
you
if you have to.
door to door. Um, One of the biggest thing is that I'm seeing now is for us to build it online and then maybe take it to the comic shops. But it's our job to build that fan base first, not depend on the comic shop to build that fan base. It's just that mode doesn't work anymore. The comic
And I'm
shops has
looking
way too much responsibilities.
It's true, it's changed, but I'm looking forward to hearing how our listeners apply some of the ideas that we've had talking about today and more creative ways to help to make their outreach feel special and feel like an event and bring that convention experience to people at their own home.
Oh yeah, podcast at ShoutFyre.com. I'll put a link in it underneath this video. Send us your links if you have a streaming. If you're doing YouTube, you're doing Twitch, put us a link in there. We'd love to check it out. Maybe we can get back together and discuss and show some of these. But we're always open to how to share how you're being successful with other people so then they can use that model and then develop their own styles and their own ways of doing it.
Excellent. Bobby, thank you so much for your time today. I think that about wraps it up.
Sounds good. Take care, Bill.
Bye bye.